Yeah. So the problem I received or we received last time, that was because my git local git setting. So I don't apply settings globally. Per repository I apply the settings. That was the concern. And that was the error message we got because my git was not knowing how to handle the merge, right? Now if you go here i.txt, there are some changes, right? Here, let's pull it again. Now I will show you that part, just a minute. Cd Mern. Okay, and then what I need to do, git config, this is one command. You need to set up it globally actually, but I don't do this thing globally. Git config pull rebase false. Okay. Yeah, just a minute, first let me show you the concern what we are getting. Yeah, see here, right? So this was not getting before. So here if you see, this is pqr data, and accept the current change, accept the incoming change, accept both changes, compare changes. So this is what they're available on a git server. This is the git server and this is on my local machine. Okay, let's check it first. Let's check it, just a minute. Day 6 and pqr.txt. Yeah, see here. So this is the pqr.txt. This is pqr data. This is not important. This is very important. This is available on the server. But this is not available. Sorry, these things are incoming changes, and this is your on the local. And this is how you get the conflict. Git says that I don't know because this file is having this data in common. This is available on the server and this is available on your local file.
So the case is like, okay, there was text A in the server. We pull that into like the same into local. So we are having text A.
Correct.
And after that, we change in server along with the local. So that's creating a problem.
Different. On the server, you made some different change. Consider that on the server, you set the variable value to 20. And on the local, you set variable value to 10. Now, Git asks you question, which value shall I consider? And that's why it gives you something called as conflicts here. So it says that on your local, this is the file. And on the server, these two things are there.
So, okay. So is it like, okay, in this case, do we need to first get our server fixed? Like,
No. Yeah, now see. Now you need to sit with your particular developer. The developer who have pushed the code at the last.
Okay.
Right? You need to communicate with that guy. And you and that particular developer will decide which changes to keep.
Okay.
Accept the current changes. Current means your changes. Accept the incoming changes or keep both the changes. Generally, we do these things, keep both the changes. And once you do this thing, right? Once you do this thing, again you need to commit. Just tick mark it over here. Tick. Here we can say stage the changes. Okay, changes have been staged. Tick mark it and now push it to the server.
What does the tick I'm sorry.
Commit message.
Commit. Okay.
So tick is nothing but whatever message VS Code has generated some message by default message, and if you want to check that message is, let's check it, 14 commits. And can you see merge branch of main, this thing. So something had happened with this. So default message, we can change this message also, no problem. So this is the merge branch of main. Now branch means if you go over here, we can create the different branches over here. So presently what is happened? There are conflicts in the same branch. On the local computer data was different and on the server data was different. On the local computer data was different and on the server computer data was different. And you tried to combine both the files and you get the error. And that error needs to be solved by means of the resolving conflicts. Git by default generates the conflict. Git says that this file is conflicting file for me. You tell me what to do with this file, accepting incoming, accepting your changes, or keep both the changes. We have kept both the changes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why in the beginning we were not able to set the thing? So I hit something git config pull rebase false. So meaning of this, the error message occurs because of Git is unsure how to reconcile the changes between the branches. Git was not knowing, in my case, in my laptop's case, that might not be case with your laptop, right? I have made these settings because I need to change this setting as per the repository. For this class, I will make it false, but I can make it true also, right? For other project. That's why I didn't make any global level configuration. You can hit the same command. You can hit the same command git config -- global. So it would be working across whole Git on my laptop.
Yeah, because it is.
Yeah. So next time I will not get this error, but I deliberately don't make this setting, and I've forgotten that I need to enable this setting.
What this particular command does pull dot reverse?
Yeah. So what this pull dot rebase does, that's what I'm telling you. So local repository is having one main branch, okay, and server is also having a main branch, and there are some problems with these branches to communicate with each other, or these branches to merge with each other, right? Why? Because the file is problematic.
Right.
This file is having problematic, and Git was not able to understand how to handle this scenario. And that's why first I need to set this command, and secondly what we need to do, we need to resolve the conflicts. That is the Git related concept. So how Git should handle the merge, that is all about this command is. So here you are saying that git config pull dot rebase to the false, which means that merge. So there are two more options: rebase option pull dot rebase true, and git config pull dot ff fast forward only. So just a minute. So when you say, well, this is not actually required right now about this command, but whenever you say git config, this is the git command that is used to get and set the configuration variables that control all aspect of how Git looks and operates. So this is the command, git config is the command. We set some variables in a Git configuration, right? So this is the command for setting some variables. Now pull dot rebase, there is one variable called as pull dot rebase. This configuration variable specific to git pull command. See, git pull command it determines the default behavior of the pull up operation when there are the divergent branches. Now, when there are what? Some divergent branches means two branches are there, and that two branches need to be worked in the case of git pull. Right? Setting the value false indicates that this false thing indicates that git should use the merge strategy. Git should use what? Merge when pulling changes from remote repository. False means what here? So git pull rebase false when there are two different branches. So git config setting the pull base variable to the false, which means that if whenever you are pulling and there are two different kind of branches available, then what to do with that particular operation? And we are saying that you need to merge both the codes. You get it or not?
Yep, got it.
Merge or not. So false says that it should be merged. So well, there are, if you say true, you are saying that just create the rebase. Then there is one more thing called as ff, fast forward only. Pull.ff, fast forward only. Well, those are some advanced level of the setting, but remember this setting is required, and by default this might be true in your case. Now cd.git, here you can do ls-l, and there is, can you see this config file is there, and here I can say vi config, and inside this remote is origin, branch is main, and here we set that variable from remote. Yeah, can you see rebase false here? See here, rebase is equals to false. So we are setting this variable by means of which command? This command,
Pull.rebase.
pull.rebase.
So basically, whenever we'll see, like as you mentioned, whenever we'll set that pull.rebase is equal to false, it will treat that whenever we will have any different branches, it will still merge it, and it will still show us and will ask us like what things we need to do.
Correct.
Like origin or like text source or like merge it or something like that. 3-4 options basically, right? It will give us.
Correct.
The screen showed previously.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Is it clear?
Yes. And this caused due to because we took the things from source to local, but source got changed itself. Like that caused a problem with respect to local. Right?
Please say that again.
Okay, so we took changes from source to remote to local.
Local, correct.
And we worked on local. That is fine. But meanwhile, somehow source also got
changed.
Problem.
Yeah, correct. Someone has pushed, because 50 developers are working, and 50 developers, there is no, if there is no cycle in your agile when to push the code, anyone can push anytime. If you are working in different time zones and Friday night your code was working, but Monday morning you go to the office and you pull the first thing, and all of a sudden your code has two conflicts. This might happen because different time zones are there, and that's why you need to handle the conflict first. So mark one thing: before you push, first thing you will pull. Before you submit anything to Git, make sure that you will pull first. Okay. Okay. So this is about last issue that we have got. Now let's open the Notion, and we'll start with the CSS part. Whatever we were understanding, that part we will see. Just a minute. Let me open that. So we have seen the definitions. We have seen the definitions of CSS. Now, what is this CSS3 is the thing we need to understand. CSS3, cascading style sheet, and this is the third revision. Whenever you say CSS, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So whenever you say CSS3, there are some new features available in CSS3. What is CSS3? See, CSS3, the third major version. What is CSS3? CSS3 is the third major version of cascading style sheets. In the context, the 3 in the CSS3 simply represents the version number. CSS3 builds upon the previous versions of CSS, adding new features, properties, and the capabilities. Now, if you see, here are main features of CSS3. See here. Main features of what? CSS3. See, enhanced styling, better layout control, responsive designs, animations and transitions, custom fonts, multiple backgrounds and borders, advanced kind of selectors, rounded corners and shadows, media queries, transparency, and the opacity. So these are some of the important features of the CSS. So whenever we will learn any concept in the CSS, I will clearly let you know this is the feature of CSS3.
Right.
Okay.
Basically, whatever so basically it will be CS2. So based on that, they have added upgrade in significant manner. So that's the reason they have released this particular.
Yeah, correct. So whatever we have seen, so on the day 5 we have seen some CSS. So this is the basic CSS, CSS2 you can call it as. Simple. But CSS3 has given some advanced options. I want to select third div out of this. You cannot do this by means of normal CSS. So I want to select this paragraph without adding any selector, sorry, any ID or any class name. As far as this code is concerned, this is not possible, right?
Right. Because we do have P, and then if you want to like distinguish that from other P's, we need class ID.
Yeah, without that also we can select this in a CSS3. I want to animate. That is the part of the CSS3. So when you say CSS3, enhanced styling, better layouting options, flexbox and the grid layout are the powerful features. A responsive web designs. CSS3 offers tools. We will see that CSS3 offers the tools that helps you in creating mobile first design. Means as if your website is built for mobiles, we can build the things. Animations and transitions. CSS3 includes the animation and transition properties that enable developers to create the smooth animation and transition without relying on the JavaScript. Instead, without writing a single code of the JavaScript, you can animate the things. We will see that. Custom fonts at font face. At font face. Right? How to use that? We are going to see that. We can create our own fonts. Multiple backgrounds. Multiple types of backgrounds we can apply. Advanced selectors. That's what I told you. I want to select this P without ID or class. Advanced selectors. Few more selectors have been added called as pseudo selectors. We'll see that. Rounded corners and shadows. Shadows have been a part of CSS3. Media queries. This is extremely important thing. If if my website is working on mobile, it should automatically consider width and height of my mobile. On tablet, it should automatically consider tablet related properties. If it is on desktop, it should automatically consume desktop related properties. Media queries, powerful feature of the CSS3. We will see that. Transparency and opacity.
Yeah, basically we are adopting the same CSS. If we are changing the device, it should adopt
Correct.
based on the width and layout. Whatever layout.
Absolutely correct. So whatever is your device, as per that, it should change the things.
And is it like we can apply in that case if we have a different thing, we can apply different CSS to different devices by using this one?
Yeah, correct. You have written width and height for the presently we are not considering any responsiveness. So whatever CSS you have written, that will be default for all the things. Means on laptop it will work same, on tablet it will work same, and for the mobile also. But we can rewrite it. We can simply rewrite it for different screen orientations or different screen densities. That falls under the CSS3 media queries. We will see that. But today we will start with the first thing that you need to learn in the CSS. That is nothing but the dimensions unit. Dimensions what? CSS selectors we have seen. Now we will first see the dimensions unit. So there are two types of dimensions. So let's create day 6, day 7, day 7, and here we can, okay, what is this hello.t? Let's move it in day 6. Okay, I can write index.html and inside that style.css. So here now I will select this HTML5 document. Nothing is changed, right? So this thing is new for you, these two things. And we have studied what do you mean by doc type. So this thing says that this is a HTML5 document. But these two things will come by default. So what did I do? HTML, instead of selecting normal HTML, just type HTML. Automatically VS Code will give you some IntelliSense and select first one, HTML:5. Hit the enter. By default, this template will come. Format the document. Okay, just forget about these two tags right now.
Okay.
Just consider that
like, just like to reiterate, the document type which we like that will be treated as HTML.
5.
But it will give access to whole details whenever we'll use that document dot something. So we'll, if you want to navigate to a particular element, we can use this thing if as we have doc type.
No, just a minute. This thing represents that the current version of the HTML used for this page is HTML5.
Okay.
So this first line says that which version of HTML you are using. If you see this version of the HTML, if you see this line or this code, this text, you can say this is which document? HTML5 document.
Okay.
So you are dealing with which document? HTML5 document. Now, what are the features of the HTML5? We will see. These two are also features of the HTML5. We will see later on. But now we can see CSS3 dimensions. CSS3 dimensions. Right? Here we can say div. We can say div. I can assign some class, say box, And here we can say dot box, and you didn't imported that. Never forget to import the or link the CSS, link CSS style.css in the current directory. Dot represents current directory, forward slash represents in a current directory there is one file called as style.css. Now see here, box I can say width 100 px, height 100 px, background color red, background color what, red. So let's open this HTML, sorry, reveal in Finder, and I am just opening this. Width and height 100 and 100. Okay, width and height what, 100 and 100. Now when you say 100 pixel and 100 pixel, what do you mean by that? I'm commenting this class, and here I can say 30% and 40, or you can say 300 pixel. Background color is red. Can you see something? No problem.
Yeah, let's go. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So here okay, yeah, so you will find something, you will find some change in this dimension.
So how much we, okay, width is 30% and height is 300
Pixel.
pixels.
So 30% and 300 pixel. Now if I comment this line and I uncomment this and refresh it, you will see something else.
Right.
Which means that this pixel and the percent is having different interpretation. The pixel and the percent is having some different interpretation. So this thing we need to see today. CSS3 offers various, so whenever I say CSS3 hence from now, it is combining of all the previous versions.
Right.
When I say CSS3, it's not only specific to CSS3, but whatever comes under the umbrella of a CSS, all that I am trying to put in the context. Okay, so CSS3 offers the various units of measurement that allow you to specify the dimensions such as length, width, height, padding, margins, etc., fonts, etc. for elements on a web page. These units help to control the sizing and spacing of the elements. This unit helps control sizing and spacing of the elements, making your design flexible and responsive. Here is the overview. So these units are divided into the two sections, absolute units and the relative units. Absolute units absolute units and the relative unit. What do you mean by absolute unit? These units are based on fixed absolute measurement and are not adaptable to the responsive designs. They will not change according to the different screens. But relative units are responsive and adapt the context, making them highly useful for creating layouts that work well across the different screen sizes and the devices. Absolute units and the relative units, right? Absolute means when you say pixel is an absolute unit. Pixel will pixel, same on mobile, same on tablet, everything. But 30% of your width, if you enable this thing, 30% of the width, and this is again absolute one, relative and absolute. Remember that relative units are relative to someone. Relative units are relative to someone. For example, I will comment this one, sorry, and uncomment this one. If I say 30% over here, you might not see anything. See here, there is no height. Height is not getting applied. Remember every time to begin with any HTML styling, you need to give width and height to the body, to the HTML tag, to the body tag. Okay, now see, I will use one more unit over here. Width 100 VW, viewport width. Height 100 VH, viewport height. And now 30% and 30% will work automatically. Remember that you need to set. So whenever you say 30%, 30% of what is undefined. So it's like that you have not given height to the parent and you try to give height to the, see, this is the parent, body is the parent, div is a part of this body. So height principle says that if you have given height to the parent, then and only then I can supply height to the children. That is the div. If you don't give height, now refresh it, there is nothing. Why? Because height is uncommented, but width will work. Width has no problem. You comment this, still it will work. Presently we don't have height, that's why we cannot see anything. But if I say in the pixel 10 pixel and refresh it, can you see height would be there? 10 pixel height you set the manually, right? And width in the percent base. See, if height you want to set it a relative, a percent base height you want to set. I am saying again, if you want to set height percent based, then if you want to set height percent based to this div, make sure that this body would be having some height already given. This body would be having some height already given. And that's why whenever you write styling for anything, any styles if you create in the HTML, make sure that you will set width and height to this thing. VW is not important. You can set it to 100 pixel also. Here you can set 100 pixel also. That is also okay, right? But height should be there. But but these two things, a default width and height should be there to the root parent. Who is the root of all the elements? Body. Whatever elements you will write inside body, who is a parent of all the elements in HTML? Body. And that's why here you are applying to the HTML tag, to the body tag, you are applying width. And that should be VH. sorry, VW, viewport width, VH, viewport height. Viewport means what? A visible section on your screen. Whatever visibility is there.
Based on device, right?
Based on device, correct. Yeah, because VH is a absolute, sorry, relative unit. See here, viewport units, relative units. Whatever relative units are there, all they are dependent on the context. That is nothing but what? Whatever environment you have, whatever width and height you are inheriting from the device, relative unit works on that things. Relative units works on that things. Now see, few other absolute units: pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, picas, right? So I talked about height. If you want to height in the percent,
like that starting next month. So it will not give what you can say first like that HTML body. You can comment that, and then in the class box we can provide width into percentage.
no
That
problem.
is like by that way, I would say as we have not defined the what you can say viewport height or width till 30%, width will
Work, correct.
not
Height will not work. Yeah, because
that also we have not defined, right? So
yeah, so for the reason is that height need to be set explicitly. What I'm saying, HTML says that the height needs to be set explicitly. Width, I will work on it. Just a minute, I will show you in the documentation. Just a minute. Now I need to search that. Just a minute.
also good.
So I am on this page. See here.
Just a second. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. See here. Now here, if you see the height attribute, see this is the height attribute. Okay. So this defines height, and if you see by default inherit, by default there is an inherited no. Inherited what? No. In the CS, well, inheritance is little bit is something different. We need to see a few more concepts before we reach to the inheritance, but just one line. In CSS, inheritance controls what happens when no value specified for an element. See here. In CSS, inheritance controls what values happens when no value specified for the element. So whenever you are saying that, if no value is specified over here, that won't be inherited to its children. The percentages is calculated with respect to the height of the generated box containing the block. If height of the content, see here, if height of the containing block is not specified explicitly, right, it depends on the content of the height, and this content is not absolutely positioned, the value computes to an atto. A percentage height on the root element is relative to the initial containing block, which means that they are saying something different. Here you can say auto and go here.
Okay, based on the font size, it will automatically will change.
No font size.
It will be
Font size is something different. Concern is that if you don't give height, it will not be inherited. You give it or don't give it, and that's why box will not get any height. You getting my point?
okay.
Just a minute.
As we have defined height
Mm-hmm.
in the HTML and body type, so that will not be applied to box, you say?
Just a
For
minute.
class, we need to specify.
Just a minute.
Our max we can go is like 100 the viewport width and a viewport height, right? And based on that, whichever box class will have, it should be equal to or less than that, right? That's my understanding.
No, just a minute. I will give you proper thing. Just give me some time. Okay. Now, what is happening over here, as per one of the blog, and as I explained you in the beginning, to browser is capable. Okay, and before that, I would like to show you the difference between this also. Just a minute. Let's go to the height proper. So just remember this thing, inherit no. Just remember this, inherit no. Okay. Remember this thing, inherit no. But this height is from where exactly? Okay, width might be PQRS TUVW, width.
for width as well, inheritance is no.
Inheritance is no, correct. Now applies to all elements but not replace with inline. Okay, this is not what we are looking for exactly. Refers to the, yeah, see this thing refers to the width of the containing block. Width of the containing block. Okay, computed value a percentage or the auto or the absolute length. Okay, so let's check this for the, remember these three things. Okay, and let's go for the height, how browser calculates these things. Let's go for the height.
Right. Here, scroll past.
Yeah, height.
Yeah.
Yeah, here inherited no. Percentage or auto or the absolute length. Can you see here? Percentage or auto or the absolute length to the height, and that's why we need to set one absolute unit over here. Percentages, the percentages is calculated with respect to the height of the generated box containing block. If height of the containing block is not specified explicitly and this element is not absolutely positioned, okay, then the value computes to the auto. A percentage height on the root element, a percentage height on the root element, see, a percentage height on the root element is relative to the initial containing block. This is how it calculates the height. See, it is absolutely going to the root element. You getting my point? And if you go to the width, a percentage, auto or the absolute length, it is not depending on the root element. Are you getting my point?
Okay.
It is able to calculate the width on its own. But whenever you say height, it is not able to, this is the default functionality of the browser. And here if you see what it says, a percentage height on the root element is relative to the initial containing block. It is not able to calculate the thing, right? And that's why here you need to set the height. Here you need to set the height, or if you don't want to set the height to the, parent or the root element, height needs to be the absolute, right? If you want to use this to be the percentage, make sure that root element is having some height. So whenever you will start your styling, make sure to do these two things in every style. Explicitly we are saying that width would be this much, height would be this much, so that all the children will get access to the proper width and height dimensions. Correct? Am I audible or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Charger. Okay. So let's try to, so I can create one class dot line dot line, or let me do it from here only. Just a minute. Something is not working with my Mac. Okay, div, and here I can say style property I will write over here, and 1 pixel, sorry, width 1 pixel, height or width we can say 100%, and height 1 pixel, and background color would be blue. And let's break line over here. We can go here and refresh it. Can you see 1 pixel, this blue line, right? Now let's use one more unit. What is another unit we have seen? Inches. Say 1 inches, 1 in. Go here. Okay, let me write everything together. One break line in between these two also, break line between these two also. 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 mm, break line after this, 1 millimeter, 1 pt, break line after this, pc, 1.
What is this Picas?
Yeah, see, Picas is another typographical measurement used for the print designs. Whenever we do, you might have seen this thing, right click and print page. At that time it is asking print on which paper. It depends on, if you think that you want to print on the pamphlet or something like that, you would be going with this units. See now, so 1 inches, second is, okay, let's give some different color. Red, cadet blue, Alice blue, okay, it is a faint color, gray, green, yellow green. Can you see this? This is first is pixel, inches, pixel, inches, cadet blue is 1 centimeter, actual centimeter on the scale, right? 1 millimeter, this is the 1 mm. Then 1 pt, these are the 1 pt, and last one is 1 pc, these are 1 pc over here.
What is the difference between like 1 pixel and 1 pt? Sorry, just what is pt stands for?
Points. When you say pt, see here, represents a point, a typographical measurement, uses less frequently in the web design and more in the print related styles.
Okay.
Millimeters is a physical millimeters, also commonly used for the web design. Centimeters used physical centimeters, similar to the inches, less commonly used in the web design. Inches, physical inches, less commonly used in web design due to the lack of responsiveness. Pixel, and this is commonly used for element sizes. So these things we generally don't use, right? Below 1 we generally don't use, but they are there. That's why I have shown you. And these things we will use a lot, right? Let me convert this guy, turn into call out or the quote. Fine, auto is not a unit. So these units we have seen, these are what? Here we can write H1, absolute units. Here we can write more, one more H1, and relative units. So percentage, viewport height, viewport width, viewport height, viewport minimum, viewport maximum, EM and REM. EM and REM, these two things are mostly used, EM and REM, for the font sizes. and percentage and these things generally used for positioning, layouting, other thing. We have seen that, right? Here already we have used VH. Here we have used the percent. Correct? Now let's have the paragraph and font size. Here we can say 1 EM. Okay, or we can say EL dot EL SZ element size and dot RT root EL SZ root element size font size. Here we can say 3 EM REM root element. So this REM is dependent on the parents. If there is a parent and parent has some font size assigned, so it will depend on the parents element size, and here it will depend on particular element size. So let's go here, and here we can say label and how are you, and one more label, I am fine, and one more label, how are you, okay, no problem. And here we can apply ELSZ element size ELSZ, and here we can apply the class RTELSZ root element size RTELSZ. Go here, refresh it. Can you see this how are you is smaller and this how are you is bigger, 3 REM 1 REM. Now to the box, if you apply some font size, say 2 REM, now see 2 REM or 2 EM we have applied. Okay, now see it will impact on this. Okay, just set 2 REM 3 REM. Okay, root element
Now
size.
we are applying a box, right? It should be under HTML body. No.
Yeah, I got it. So let's write these two labels inside the box. Okay, and you will see the significant change to the box we have applied. How are you? Okay. So here 2 EM, refresh it. Okay, this is EM, that is fine. If you see, this is little bit enlarged, 1 EM RE. Just a minute. Now I just wanted to show you something. 10px. So this is as it is. Okay, now okay, so let me apply font size, say 1 EM. Now 1 REM root element. This should be getting impacted actually. Just a minute. RT ELSZ font size 3 REM. If I do 3 EM, okay, so 3 EM, how are you, okay. If I say REM, yeah, if you see here, just comment this line, this is a 3 REM and here I have set 3 EM. Let's make it 1 EM. Can you see this size is getting smaller, right?
Right.
So as per or 0.8 EM So when you say, if you go here, a relative font size to the parent element, em, when you say em, relative font size to the parent element relative to the root element font size, what I am doing exactly, just a minute. If you see, this thing is getting impacted. Okay, just give me some time, I am getting confused because of lot of this thing. Just remove everything. I will remove this thing from here, and let's create a new HTML, say fnt.html. Let's create new one, so it is confusing to me also. Remove this style, and we can say fnt.css. okay, so here html5 and font units, font units. Okay, now let's have this div. Okay, inside this div there is a label. Inside this div there is a, or instead of label, let's have a paragraph. Let's have a paragraph. Hello, how are you? Okay, hello, how are you? Now what I need to do, and here also, what is CSS? What is CSS? Okay, and let's link the CSS first. Link rel CSS fnt.css. In the current, well, it's not required to write that. Now to this class, and I can say pt parent dot pt, and here we can say font size 2em. okay, 2em, and let's
But as of now, there is no root element size defined, right?
So width and height you are saying, or HTML and body, this one.
Yeah.
Still it should work, because yeah, let us see what happens. So here I can say font size and 1, or say 3em. Okay, to the pt over here, to the pt over here, 2em. okay, what do you mean by em? Let's check it again. Relative to the font size of the parent element. So if 3em of the 2em, 3em of the 2em. Now if I change this size, this side should also be getting changed automatically. I will not change this 3em. So what is expected, that I will not change this 3em, but I will change this 1em, or let's make it 4em now, and 3em of this 4em. okay, I will not change this unit, but I will change this unit, but this guy should be getting changed. So here I will make a comment right now. okay, let's go here, refresh it. So instead of fnt.html, fnt.html, hello, how are you? Okay, only one text is there, and here I said 4em. Let's make 3em. Can you see, it is becoming now actually smaller. In the earlier case, we were not understanding what's happening. So this hello, how are you, which proves that 3em of this 3em, or 3em of this 2em, right? So this is the 2em. We didn't change this line, but we changed this unit. So em stands for what? Relative to the parent font unit. So parent font unit is 2em.
So whatever unit will be applying in parent, and if we apply like what, like for example 50%, 5em, 10em, whatever,
Yeah,
based on whatever parent has defined.
correct. Correct. See here, I have given 20 pixels. But generally, we don't give percent and VW. VW can be given to the units, no problem, but percent we generally don't give to the font sizes. It's irrelevant, right? We can give it and it will work also, but percentages are mainly used for width, height, your borders, like that. Okay, do you understand this?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's give a root element. Same thing. Now I will comment this line, uncommented, body, sorry, body. Now 3, sorry, font size 4 em, and here we can say style, font size 2 rem, root element size. Now go here and refresh it. What is CSS? Now let's try to increase this 5 em, or just refresh it. Font size 2 rem. Okay, let's give in a pixel, 50 pixel. Font size 2 rem. A root element to the body. What's happening? To the body, font size 50 pixel, 2 rem. Okay, I got it. So let's see this on tomorrow. Okay,
Okay.
I got it. What is happening over here? I need to explain something more about this, but we will see this thing tomorrow.
Sure, that will.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Thank you.